During the Great Depression, Hollywood hatched a scheme for selling more tickets to people who had a hard time justifying the price. And so the age of the double feature was born, where you could see 2 movies for the price of 1. But this meant twice as many movies needed to be produced. So they were done quick and cheap, with less supervision and less big celebrity names. Since these cheap B-movies couldn't depend on big-budget spectacle or banking on star power, they had to hold people's attention some other way. They had to strike a nerve.
We don't talk about those things in this house, do we?
And it was in that environment where film noir was born. And it grew because it was the embodiment of how people felt that the world had lost its color, spark, joy, that the American dream had become a nightmare. The problem: the world has no spark and no color. It's often depicted in film noir as just the way life is, and that it doesn't stem from some national event. And that lends to the idea that the Great Depression isn't what caused this change to happen. That it reawakened something that was already there. Something that was lying dormant like some sinister sleeping beauty. But the mystery of what the deepest roots of this problem are and how to solve it, that's what film noir is really about. But there's no happy endings where everything is magically solved in the end. Their endings are more ambiguous, or the hero fails completely. The best they can usually manage is to stay out of jail or get revenge. And that implies that this problem is so all-pervading and so overwhelming that a solution can't even be imagined within film noir. Yet at the same time, there are some important film noir stories that they have a type of figure that's associated with a solution. In Vertigo and in The Big Heat, the hero's world, it's harsh, but it has color, it has its spark, it's still animated, right up until the death of the woman the hero loves.
Hello, little bossy. Where's Big Bossy?
Here.
Hello, Daddy.
Hello.
What's your...
Commissioner, I need the car keys.
Yeah. Hey.
Nothing? Nothing at all.
Oh, they had a terrible time. And our mother came home and she said, "Oh, my, you kittens, you lost your mitt." Stay in bed, darling.
Now this type of figure, it's not exclusive to film noir at all. In the psychological study of myth and religion, this world animating female figure is called the anima. And she takes center stage in film noir as the femme fatale, as a seductress, as something that's almost always completely negative. And it's not until much later in film noir's development that you start to see any positive aspects of this female figure. But there is a fairly recent film noir story that does take this idea to its height and balances both the positive and the negative aspects of this world animating figure, and in doing so, it proposes a new solution to this impossible problem. It is found in the most unlikeliest of places in a 2003 video game called Max Payne 2. Max Payne is an NYPD homicide detective who is forever haunted by the brutal murder of his wife and child. It's been years since their deaths, but for Max, the world is still gray and lifeless. To perhaps take his mind off his grief, he jumps headfirst into investigating a convoluted murder case. The case quickly turns personal, involving 2 important people from his past. One of them is Vlad, a former Russian mob boss who, in the past, helped Max go after the people responsible for killing his wife. Now, Vlad has been marked for assassination right at the moment he's gotten out of crime and become, supposedly, legitimate.
What was it you did for a living again?
Scout's honor, detective. I have mended my ways, evolved to a higher level. Vodka will be the best restaurant in the city. I'll be rich and famous.
The second person involved with the case is Mona, a deadly red-haired assassin whose alliances in the mob war are unclear. She and Max had also worked together to take out the people responsible for killing his wife. But Max thought she'd since been killed.
Mona?
Max, we gotta stop meeting like this.
Mona! If you think nothing can get to you, you're lying to yourself. At best, you're temporarily dead. A lightning bolt can reanimate you without a warning.
And so, as Max says, she was like a lightning bolt reanimating him. So when Max discovers that she's a wanted fugitive in the murder case his police partner is investigating, he can't bring himself to admit that he ran into her. He keeps the information from the police, but then is tortured by guilt-ridden nightmares that by doing so, he's betraying the police force.
You don't need a lawyer, just tell us what you did.
Payne, you're done. Everything you say will be used against you.
What are you hiding? She's alive, isn't she?
People get near you, they die. You killed your family. You killed them all.
Confess.
Max then wakes from his nightmare.
I had woken up to a knock at my door. Mona, I was wondering when you'd show up.
Max, I'm not here to kill you. Aren't you going to ask me in? You are in danger. Both of us are. There's a contract out on us.
There's no us in this. You're a murder suspect. I should take you in. I was hiding behind the badge.
Clearly, Max doesn't want to be associated with her, with the side of criminal evil. And yet, even in the face of serious threats from his boss, Max is still drawn to her more and more, until the attraction reaches a boiling point.
Why was I there again? Wait! Wait just a minute. Talk to me.
What are you so afraid of? What do you want from me?
The Things That I Want by Max Payne. The smoke. A whiskey. For the sun to shine. I want to sleep to forget. To change the past. My wife and baby girl back. Unlimited ammo and a license to kill. Right then, more than anything, I wanted her.
It's not long afterward that Max's police force partner shows up and threatens Mona at gunpoint.
Stay out of this, Max. You're only making it worse. You've been suspended.
She's one of them. She's here to kill me.
I'm doing my duty. She is a fugitive murder suspect. I'm taking her in. She resists, she gets shot.
As surely as the bullet rips through the victim's flesh, organ, and bone, it shatters the image of the man who presses the trigger. Easy.
Back off, Payne.
This is what I see when I look back. These moments. Blinding as snow. They kill you, change you. You die and live again. Remade. No, Mona. Winterson!
Gunfire! This way, fast!
Go! Go, run! Mona!
Over here! Hold it! Detective Winterson! Officer down! He went over the edge!
The genius of the hole. No matter how long you spend climbing out, you can still fall back down in an instant. I had a dream of my wife. In it, I murdered her for my lover.
We're losing him. Multiple gunshot wounds. Pupils blown, head trauma, God only knows what else. He's in shock. Start 2 large bore IVs, get him to ICU stat. He's not responding. This guy is a train wreck. We're losing him.
I had chosen Mona. It felt like I had lost her.
You're a real angel, Max.
It's no wonder that Max associates the killing of his police force partner with the murder of his own wife. The two are both blonde-haired women who, in the eyes of society, are figures of pure good. And he feels he's been tricked by Mona. In this nightmare, she's a siren. She's nothing but a sexual temptress which has seduced Max into betraying the memory of his wife. The nightmare ends with Mona putting a gun to his face and saying, "You're a real angel, Max." And Max associates angels with those people who killed his wife, with pure evil. The drugged out junkies were spouting lines about eating the flesh of fallen angels on that fateful day. There is no possible way he could feel any more guilty than this.
NYPD, drop the gun.
What are you gonna do about it, pal? We're all guilty of something if you look hard enough.
The cleaners, Andy Finn, Senator Gate, Mr. Corcoran, they were just peripheral noise surrounding the case. Winterson's murder was what it was all about. The cost of passion, my courtship of Mona Sachs, my case, my crime. It wasn't about finding the killer. I was it. It was about looking for a deserving patsy to pin the blame on.
Max then visits his police partner's body in the morgue.
I was a murderer, a cop killer.
But then Max sees sticking out of her pocket a set of matches with the logo of Vlad's new, legitimate business. Max does some digging and discovers Vlad was lying to him from the beginning, just using his protection to fuel a total mob takeover and then kill Max as soon as he was done with him. He's the one with the contract on Max and Mona, and Max's police force partner was in on it the whole time. The only thing left for Max to do is to go after Vlad. But before we can get to the ending, we have to talk about the story within the story. Address Unknown. It's this TV show that plays during certain levels of the game in the background, which sums up Max's story. It takes all the core elements and grounds it into a fine powder until all that's left is what's archetypal.
Home, sweet home. Something in the night felt like a door had been opened, an echo of the past, an old monster snapping its eyes open in the depths of my brain. Closing your eyes forces you to look at the darkness inside.
And now, Address Unknown.
I hadn't slept in a long time. When I did, my dreams were nightmares.
I was trapped in a nightmare. My evil double had taken my girlfriend.
In a nightmare, every choice you make is a wrong one.
Following him, I had somehow slipped into a twisted alternate reality. Noir, York City.
I would wake up at night, afraid that day was a dream I'd forget.
This evil double John refers to, it's like his shadow. That's the phrase psychologist Carl Jung uses to describe the dark part of the personality which doesn't fit with our persona. The shadow is the things that, all the things about us we'd like to keep in the dark. But not everything that doesn't fit with our good guy persona isn't useful. And we see this idea being played out in countless stories. Between hero and shadow, the motif of the hostile brothers. Luke and Darth Vader, Batman and the Joker, Superman, Lex Luthor, and so on and so on. In many of these stories, the hero can only win by integrating a part of the villain into his character. For example, Luke has to get angry. He has to use a part of the dark side as his hatred. He just lets it out. He just wails on his father, and that's the only way that he can defeat him. But then he sees that everything in his shadow, represented by his father, isn't bad. It's worth joining with in an alliance. And that he can join with it, and that the true villain isn't his shadow, but it's the adversary, Palpatine. He's the one that he really needs to get rid of. And you see this in The Dark Knight, where Batman has to integrate a part of the Joker to save the soul of Gotham. He lies. He plays a trick on everyone. He deceives the whole city. He doesn't join with the Joker. That'd be too extreme because he's the adversary, truly. But he still integrates a part of him to be able to win the soul of Gotham.
My double was John Mira. He was the devil incarnate, a fallen angel.
The flesh of fallen angels.
He was a serial killer. He had framed me for his murders.
John, our hero, identifies his evil double, John Mira, as a fallen angel right off the bat. And we already know that Max associates angels with the people who killed his wife. And so right off the bat, this double, the shadow, John Mira, he's the embodiment of what kills your soul. But it's not dead in the show, like Max's wife is dead. His girlfriend, John's girlfriend, is kidnapped, which fits with the idea that what Max's wife represents, it's not gone forever. It's just lost.
Address unknown continues.
Wherever I went, the payphones started to ring. Finally, I collected enough courage to answer one.
John, you must run. He's coming after you. He wants to catch you. They're closing in. John, I love you. Don't give up.
I wasn't gonna give up on her. I could hear her voice in my head wherever I went, guiding me. I traced my double to a classy uptown nightclub, Pink Flamingo. It was happy hour. They were serving flamingo cocktails. Somehow the flamingo was tied to my double. A stripper in the bar looked just like my girlfriend. Mira's men had found me. I ran.
Stop him! There he goes! Stop him! You can't escape! We're coming to take you away! You have nowhere to run!
Mira was an influential figure in Noir, York. His men chased me. They wore white uniforms. They looked so clean. They chased me in black vans with the logo of the flamingo on them. I ran.
It's interesting to note that a darker figure has come to resemble John's girlfriend. And we'll see later in the story, she takes another step toward darkness, which that's what this whole story is about.
The Pink Bird Mental Institute. Mira's men pretended to be hospital wardens.
The flesh. The flesh. I think I died. I think I'm dead. I don't know. I don't know. Death is coming. It's coming. They're here. They're here. Get away. Get away. I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna hurt you.
They said I was an escaped mental patient.
Diagnosis: paranoid schizophrenic. You are insane. Psychotic. You have to eat plenty of pills to get better.
They lied that I had killed my girlfriend. John Mira came to mock me in the bathroom mirror. The flamingo was with him.
Mirrors are more fun than television.
Mira claimed my girlfriend had turned evil, joined him.
She has dyed her hair red.
I smashed the mirror. I'd kill them all.
The flamingo is an interesting choice to be a familiar of this dark figure. The flamingo, it's in the shape of a question mark, so it invokes mystery. And its looping advice is, mirrors are more fun than television. Well, the show is playing on a television, so I think it's saying that you shouldn't take this as mere entertainment. It's a mirror. It's a reflection. It's telling you what's going on. And for Max, that's what the show is. The show is a reflection of Max's psyche, just in the same way that Max's story is a reflection of many of our own lives.
When entertainment turns to a surreal reflection of your life, you're a lucky man if you can laugh at the joke.
The figures in the mirror are trying to tell John that what his girlfriend represents has changed form. She's dyed her hair the same color of Mona's hair, the color of blood. John doesn't want to accept this because, well, his anima has joined with his shadow. That which, everything that would bring him joy and meaning in life, the spark, the color, has rejected him and joined with everything he's rejected from his personality. And that is extremely painful. This actually happened to me when I was in grade school. There was this girl that I liked. And at my grade school, it was a private school, everyone was like a family. Nobody dated anybody because everyone had gone there from kindergarten to 8th grade. But there was this new girl, so she wasn't part of the family. I was attracted to her. And then there was also this new kid who, he was like everything I didn't want to be. He was this country boy, kind of animal, in touch with his instincts. He would go hunting and he loved sports, and he was a very masculine, typical masculine guy. And I didn't want to be that. I want to be smart and creative and artist. I'd rejected that from my personality. They got together. Oh, man. I was furious. I started getting all these psychosomatic symptoms, these horrible headaches all the time. My neck started aching. I was going to the doctor. It's only years later that I realized that all those terrible symptoms ended when they left the school. As soon as they were gone, poof, the symptoms were all gone. Because there's a psychological situation that was torture. It's torture. And it's torture for our hero, John, because he sees that he's not good enough. He's not good enough. And that his anima has a dark aspect, that it's two-sided. And Carl Jung, he lets on to the fact that this is normal, that the anima is a two-sided figure. He writes, "She is the much-needed compensation for the risks, struggles, sacrifices that all end in disappointment. She is the solace for all the bitterness of life. And at the same time, she's the great illusionist, the seductress who draws him into life with her Maya, and not only into life's reasonable and useful aspects, but into its frightful paradoxes and ambivalences, where good and evil, success and ruin, hope and despair counterbalance one another." This is exactly the case with Mona. When Max meets her in the first game, she actually poisons him with this drug that causes temporary schizophrenic madness. It sends him into this nightmarish illusion, because that's what the anima is. It is that which brings you forward, the light that brings you forward into the dark, reanimates the world, but it's also the thing that weaves illusions and madness.
You're a real angel, Max.
It was good stuff. Tasted sweet as honey going down.
Nothing personal. Can't risk you going berserk and getting Lisa killed.
And it's said of the Christian anima, wisdom, Sophia, She was like the pre-Mary figure of the anima. The biblical passage that talks about her goes, "Those who seek her out win her favor. He who holds her fast inherits glory. She walks with him as a stranger, and at first she puts him to the test. Fear and dread she brings upon him, and tries him with her discipline. With her precepts she puts him to the proof, until his heart is fully with her. Then she comes back to bring him happiness and reveals her secrets to him." This implies that the anima isn't dead, but that John/Max are not worthy. They lack the missing element that would make their hearts fully with her. They still have a conflict between not wanting to be seen as evil.
You have a tumor in your brain. It's making you mad. We're forced to operate aggressively.
The fake doctors were trying to confuse me, saying I was John Mira, pumping me full of drugs.
No! None of that! Give it back! He's loose! He has the drill! Restrain him! No! No!
All right now. Easy. Easy. Just hand it over. There's a good boy. Hey, stay back. No!
I was in charge, but still woozy from the drugs. I had to escape. I couldn't let them stop me.
It's in this moment that when John is forced to act like his evil double or die, that he does it and does something that maybe John Mira would do. He does it because otherwise he can't continue after his own soul. He integrates a part of his evil double. And Max does something similar. He integrates a part of Vlad toward the end, which at the beginning of the story he refused when Vlad and Max are still supposed allies. Vlad says,
"Max, I need to ask your advice as a friend."
Ask.
Hypothetically, if the only choice you've got is to do the wrong thing, then it's not really the wrong thing. It's more like fate. You have to do what you have to do.
It's never that easy.
Of course. We agree to disagree.
Max hears this and disagrees, saying that things aren't so simple. But in the show, in the asylum, John didn't have a choice. It was either be passive and lose everything, or be proactive and become evil. Later on, Max comes to say,
Vlad was right. There are no choices. Nothing but a straight line. The illusion comes afterwards, when you ask why me and what if. When you look back, see the branches, like a pruned bonsai tree or a forked lightning. If you had done something differently, it wouldn't be you. It would be someone else looking back, asking a different set of questions.
In the same vein as Luke Skywalker and Batman, Max integrates a part of the villain to be able to move forward. And then in one of the final scenes of the game, Mona reveals that she has to kill Max, but she can't do it. She loves him. He has fully won her over because his heart is fully with her, and she reveals her secrets to him. But then Vlad comes, shoots her, she's bleeding out. And that's around the time when the final episode of Address Unknown plays.
The poet Poole, in his poem, "Somebody's Been Wearing My Face Again," wrote, "In this hall of mirrors, built by liars, I am a pale reflection of myself."
You lie to yourself, you're not really reflecting. There's no self-reflection going on. And that's what happens with John. When Mira is tormenting him in the bathroom mirror, he can't take it. He won't admit that this aspect is a part of him. So he smashes the medium for his reflection. To take a mythological example, the story of Oedipus. Oedipus proves himself a hero against the battle with the Sphinx in answering the riddle. But then he unconsciously kills his father and falls into incest with his mother. And it's not these things that he's done that makes him a tragic, negative character. It's the fact that he can't look at what he's done. He cannot look at his own capacity to do the wrong thing. So he gouges his own eyes out. So he can't reflect. The alternative is to lie to yourself, and that's what Vlad does to himself and everyone. So here comes the difference between Max and Vlad. Max struggles with his shadow. When he kills his partner, he feels guilt. He feels guilt just when he doesn't tell the whole truth to his boss. While Vlad, he doesn't worry about the moral ambiguity of his actions at all. He doesn't try to incorporate the evil part of him in a moral way at all. He doesn't struggle with his shadow at all. He doesn't even consider it. He has no internal conflict. While Max is wrecked with guilt and questions about what is right. That is the vital difference between the two of them.
I had escaped from the Pink Bird Mental Institute. I was lost in Noir, York City. I couldn't find my way back home. John Mira had made me a killer. I had become him, John Mira. Maybe I had always been him.
John Mira.
Yes, this is he.
This is John Mira. Welcome to the next level.
In the final moments of Address Unknown, John realizes that through his act of evil, he's become John Mira. He recognizes his own capacity for evil, but more than that, he reevaluates the past, saying, maybe I've always been him. Maybe the responsibility for what I've lost is mine. Then, payphone rings, John answers it, and it's John Mira congratulating him, saying, welcome to the next level. And John is horrified by this confirmation, the real confirmation that he is John Mira. And this is the appropriate reaction. This is the same reaction Max had when he found out what he was truly capable of. And so then Max goes and he has his confrontation with Vlad after that episode plays. And Vlad has a very telling set of final words.
Dearest of all my friends, I was supposed to be the hero.
That is something Max would never, ever say. He thought he was evil. And the fact that Vlad doesn't consider that shows just how little self-knowledge he possesses. There are two endings, one where Mona survives and one where she doesn't, and on the hardest difficulty is the one which she survives. Either way, the same essential ending is given. So here is the standard one.
The past is a gaping hole. Your only chance is to turn around and face it. but it's like kissing the lips of your dead love, darkness waiting in the hole of your mouth. We are willing to suffer, to die for the things we care about, for love, for the right choices. Because of her, I had solved the case, my case, all of it, who I am. It's gonna be all right.
God, I turned out to be such a damsel in distress.
She was dead. The bullet in her head had come to the end of its slow-motion journey.
Stay sharp. We're going in.
Go, go, go!
It is almost morning, waking up from the American dream.
Jesus! My God! What the hell went on in here?
They are all dead.
Now, like all my loves, she is mine forever. She has brought me here to this moment of clarity, where time slows down and I choose to look back, to see myself. And in that act of seeing, I am reborn.
Down here! This way! There! Easy!
Oh my God.
Got a live one here!
Detective Payne?
He's still alive! We need a medic in here now! He's still alive!
I had a dream of my wife. She was dead, but it was all right. Is it worth it? Saying that it never is would be a lie. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes something good comes out of it. Something you know you wouldn't deserve in a million years.
God, I turned out to be such a damsel in distress.
Something that gives you a reason to go on.
NYPD, freeze! Easy! Don't move!
We need a paramedic team here. We have 2 survivors.
I had a dream of my wife. She was dead, but it was all right.
In both endings, a resolution is reached. It's not the bringing her back to life that's just a bonus. The core resolution is what's captured in his line, because of her, I had solved the case. My case. All of it. Who I am. And in the first ending, Max elaborates on how this self-knowledge, which he gained through her, has set him free. She has brought me here to this moment of clarity where time slows down and I choose to look back, to see myself, and in that act of seeing, I am reborn. He chooses to look. He doesn't smash the mirror. He looks what he's done in the face. And the fact that there are 2 endings speaks to a fact of life. As Max says, sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes the color of life does return. But this story stresses that the joy isn't the goal, that the goal is to look at the darkness and face it honestly. This creates the resolution and is the same in both endings, the same final lines of the story. I had a dream of my wife. She was dead. But it was all right. Wow. Oh. It's okay that things get lost, that things got dark, that what was innocent is gone. It's horrible that it happened, but it happened. And we have to deal with that fact. There's still an opportunity to redeem the tragedy of the past by discovering who we are. And that happens by going after what we're interested in. And sometimes that means saying no to what other people want us to do. Saying no to other people and what they want us to be. If we want to have a chance at self-mastery, clarity, and the chance for the spark of life to return, we have to risk struggling with what we least want to struggle with. The dark truth, our capacity for evil. But in that evil lies the ability to say no. And if you can't say no, then there's no chance at saving your soul at all. What animates life has changed. Demands more of us. Demands a higher degree of self-knowledge, and in pursuing it carefully, watching ourselves, struggling with it, looking at what we do, then we have a chance. We can't repeat the past, because what animates life evolves, changes throughout life. And if we don't become dangerous to some degree, then we can't change with it. It is our lack of ability to deal with the darkness inside and outside that keeps the world dark.